In an extraordinary interview tonight, Prince Harry has spoken candidly about the breakdown of his relationship with his father.
The moment Palace phones started ringing behind closed doors, everything changed. Not because King Charles had spoken, not because Buckingham Palace confirmed anything, but because one whisper of an emergency was enough to trigger something far more dangerous. Prince William reportedly moved first. And if the rumor is true, Harry and Meghan were blindsided before they even knew the game had started. Inside royal circles, silence is never empty. Silence means movement. Silence means signatures. Silence means decisions made while everyone else is staring at headlines. And that is exactly why this story has exploded. While the public obsessed over scattered reports about King Charles and renewed health concerns, insiders began murmuring about a sealed document, quietly advanced, allegedly authorized for immediate use if the situation worsened. Not next month, not next year, immediately. And the names at the center of the storm? Harry and Meghan. Because here is what nobody says loudly enough. In times of royal uncertainty, power does not wait politely. It reorganizes itself. Fast. The monarchy does not pause for emotions. It tightens. It protects itself. It closes ranks. And if William truly signed what sources are hinting at, then the Sussexes may have just discovered how little room remains for them inside the machine. Think about the timing. Harry and Meghan have spent years balancing on a strange line outside the palace, yet still defined by it. They built projects, documentaries, interviews, brand deals, speeches, all while carrying titles linked to the institution they publicly challenged. It was a risky strategy, but it worked because one fact always remained: King Charles was still there. And suddenly, Harry and Meghan are staring at a possibility they always feared, not being attacked loudly but erased quietly. Imagine Meghan hearing that palace planners were already discussing new classifications for working relevance. Imagine Harry learning that ceremonial seating maps, travel logistics, and funeral-era hierarchy models may already place him far from the center. That is the kind of wound headlines miss. It is not about money first, it is about rank. In royal life, rank is oxygen. Who walks first? Who rides where? Who stands beside whom? Who appears on balconies? Who receives calls before announcements? Who enters private rooms? These details look tiny to outsiders. Inside monarchy culture, they are everything. And insiders claim William's rumored order focused heavily on clarity. That word again, clarity. Clarity usually sounds harmless, but in palace language, clarity can mean cutting off ambiguity. Harry and Meghan have lived in ambiguity for years. Half in, half out. Royal enough for headlines. Independent enough for interviews. Close enough to matter, distant enough to criticize. A future king may hate ambiguity more than scandal. So what happens when a man obsessed with order sees two people living in permanent contradiction? He resolves it. Sources now claim certain digital assets and internal profiles were already under review. That means websites, official biographies, patronage references, archive positioning, invitation status, even the wording used in future statements. You might think that sounds petty. It is not petty. It is image warfare. The palace understands something Harry and Meghan also understand: perception becomes reality. If the official ecosystem treats you like extended family instead of central family, the world follows, media follows, sponsors follow, public sympathy shifts, search engines shift, histories get rewritten through formatting, and William knows it. That is why the rumored signature matters so much. It suggests he may not be waiting for a formal transition to think like a king. He may already be acting like one. Now imagine how that lands in Montecito. Harry, already carrying years of tension with his brother, hearing whispers that William moved behind the curtain during Charles' uncertainty. Meghan, already skeptical of palace games, seeing another example of decisions made without transparency. The trust deficit would not shrink, it would explode. There is another layer almost nobody is discussing. If Charles recovers and nothing immediate changes, the damage may still be done. Because once Harry and Meghan know contingency plans exist, they can never unknow it. Once they suspect that lists were drafted, roles were reassigned, privileges reconsidered, invitations recalculated, there is no going back to polite family optics. You cannot unhear that your future was organized without you. That may be the real scandal here. Not whether a document exists, not whether a pen touched paper, but whether the Sussexes now realize that the post-Charles era is not theoretical anymore. It has been mapped. And if it has been mapped, where exactly exactly are they standing on that map? Near the throne, near the gate, or already outside it? Friends of the couple have long insisted Harry wanted accountability more than revenge. But accountability becomes meaningless if the institution simply outlasts you and moves on. That possibility may now be staring him in the face. Meanwhile, William's supporters would argue something very different. They would say he is being responsible, preparing, protecting continuity, ensuring no confusion during national uncertainty. They would frame it as duty, not hostility. And that is what makes palace conflict so vicious. Both sides can claim principle while destroying each other emotionally. Harry says truth. William says stability. Meghan says fairness. The institution says survival. Those words do not live peacefully in the same room. So as Charles' emergency rumors continue swirling, one chilling question remains hanging over everything. Did William simply prepare for the future, or did he use the moment to permanently redraw Harry and Meghan's place in it? What allegedly sat inside that signed package is where this story turns from tense to brutal, because insiders claim the rumored order was never about one dramatic punishment. It was about 12 quiet moves that, taken together, could change Harry and Meghan's entire position without a single public war. That is how Martin Palace power works. No screaming, no press conference, no slam doors. Just systems shifting underneath you until one morning you realize the floor is gone. The first alleged move was access control. Not glamorous, but devastating. Access means private calls, family updates, event briefings, direct channels, trusted aides answering messages. If those pathways are narrowed, Harry and Meghan do not need to be banned to feel the effect. They simply become slower to know things, later to hear things, easier to sideline. In royal life, being informed late is a form of exile dressed as scheduling. Then came whispers of invitation tiers being redrawn. That sounds technical until you understand what it means. State moments, memorials, jubilees, charity ceremonies, diplomatic receptions, family milestones, each event has layers. Front row, second row, private dinner, public appearance only, included in photos, excluded from photos. If William's planners are truly redesigning the hierarchy, Harry and Meghan may still be invited to certain occasions while being stripped of significance inside them. Present but powerless, visible but peripheral. And that may hurt more than exclusion itself, because exclusion can create sympathy. Peripheral treatment creates humiliation. There were also murmurs about communications containment. This is the palace version of closing windows before a storm. Fewer leaks, tighter messaging, smaller circles of trust, less information moving toward California. If true, it suggests William's camp has no interest in repeating years of headline chaos where every private tension somehow became global content. Whether fair or unfair, many inside the institution reportedly believe openness became vulnerability. So the answer is not reconciliation. The answer is lockdown. Imagine how Harry receives that. A man who says he was frozen out now allegedly faces even colder walls. Imagine how Meghan receives it. A woman who already viewed palace channels with suspicion now hearing those same channels may be sealing permanently. Every old grievance would roar back to life. And then there is the money question, the one people whisper about while pretending they do not care. No one serious believes William would be casually funding a separate California empire that monetizes royal association while criticizing royal culture. If emergency planning included future cost reviews, shared support reviews, residence privileges, travel logistics, or courtesy expenses, the message would be unmistakable. The era of emotional subsidy is over. Handle your own machine. That is not just financial. It is symbolic adulthood forced by family power. Another reported focus was title usage language. Notice I said language, not titles themselves, because stripping titles creates controversy. But reducing how titles are used, where they appear, how often they are referenced, whether they headline official materials, that can slowly cool status without legal warfare. It is cleaner, smarter, harder to fight. If the institution stops emphasizing you, the world slowly follows its tone. And Harry knows branding power. Meghan knows branding power. That is why even subtle wording changes would be felt immediately. Now let's talk about the emotional strike nobody measures: legacy positioning. Royal families think in decades, not weeks. They build archives, websites, documentaries, exhibitions, official memories. Who is framed as loyal? Who is framed as difficult? Who is framed as central? Who becomes a side chapter? If William is already shaping the post-Charles narrative era, Harry and Meghan may fear becoming cautionary footnotes in a story story they once believed they helped modernize. That kind of fear does not trend on social media, but it can keep people awake at night because money can be rebuilt, reputation can be fought over, but legacy, once institutionalized, hardens like stone. There were even whispers that ceremonial optics had been pre-modeled down to seating, procession spacing, vehicle assignments, and camera lines for future major events. Some will call that normal planning. They are right, it is normal planning, but normal planning becomes deeply personal when your own brother may be deciding how far behind him you walk during the most emotional week of your life. That is the cruelty of monarchy. Logistics become therapy wounds, and through all of this sits King Charles, the center of gravity everyone keeps talking around. If he is aware of any such maneuvering, what does he feel? Relief that continuity is protected? Pain that his sons remain frozen? Frustration that illness rumors trigger factional behavior? We do not know, but Charles has often seemed like the last soft thread connecting two hardened sides. If that thread weakens, the family may not snap loudly. It may simply drift beyond repair. Sources close to Sussex sympathizers claim Harry would see any secret order as confirmation of what he has long believed, that decisions about him are made first and explained never. William allies would fire back that Harry forfeited insider trust the moment private family matters became public products. And there it is again, two realities colliding with no judge accepted by both sides. Harry says betrayal happened to him. William's side says betrayal came from him. Meghan says they escaped dysfunction. The palace says they attacked duty. Each version contains enough truth to survive and enough bitterness to poison peace. That is why this rumored signature matters so much, even if details remain hidden. It represents a shift from family drama to institutional finality. Family fights can heal. Institutions issue structures. Once structures change, emotions become irrelevant. And what if Charles stabilizes, months pass, and no visible crackdown comes? Do not assume nothing happened. Sometimes the most powerful order is not immediate punishment. It is readiness. Files prepared. Chains of command clarified. Options approved. Buttons labeled. Waiting. Which means Harry and Meghan may now be living under a new shadow, not what has been done, but what can be done quickly when the moment arrives. That changes behavior. It changes trust. It changes strategy. Do they seek reconciliation before doors harden? Do they double down and build even further away from royal identity? Do they stay silent publicly while negotiating privately? Do they launch new projects proving they need no palace at all? Every move now happens against the suspicion that the next era has already been designed without them. And that suspicion alone can be devastating, because the deepest shock is not losing status. It is discovering that others already planned for your irrelevance. So when people ask why Harry and Meghan would be stunned after William signs a secret order during Charles' emergency rumors, the answer may be brutally simple. It is not the paper. It is what the paper says about the future. A future where William may not be asking whether there is room for them anymore. A future where he may already have decided there isn't.